Welcome to the Research Like a Pro question and answer series. I'm Nicole Dyer, and today's video is about how to track training and professional development as an aspiring genealogist. And we received this question from one of our Research Like a Pro study group members who was pondering the best way to keep track of connections and networking, as well as professional development from conferences and other courses and training that was done. So in this video, I talk about some different requirements for tracking continuing education if you're an aspiring genealogist who's seeking a credential or just wants to be a professional and a member of the Association of Professional Genealogists, and then some ideas for how to track that, including what I did for my portfolio for certification, as well as a new Airtable template that you might find useful for that. I hope you enjoy this excerpt from our Research Like a Pro monthly office hours for members of our Research Like a Pro study group and online course. Well, our monthly tip this month is about genealogy education. That's the theme of our office hours this month, which is the last lesson in the Research Like a Pro course. And the tip that I want to talk about is tracking your genealogical education experiences. And this may be something that you're doing already or that you might want to start doing. You may want to start tracking your educational experiences if you're planning to become a professional genealogist, and also if you're going to seek credentials or if you already have credentials. So one thing with the Association of Professional Genealogists, you have a profile where people who are searching for genealogists can look and learn about you. And that's one place where I've tried to keep it updated with some of the institute courses that I've taken, because it shows your continuing education and some of your expertise areas. Also, you have to submit your continuing education as a member of APG. And then as far as credentials for ICAPGen, if you're just starting out with the accreditation experience, ICAPGen suggests 1,000 hours of research and education experience when you apply, and 500 in the chosen region. And then after you're an accredited genealogist, then you're supposed to share what you've been doing to stay up on the field and stay sharp in your region. So your continuing education, when you renew every 5 years, you submit that. And then with the CG credential from BCG, the Board for Certification of Genealogists, they ask for development activities in the initial and renewal portfolio, which is every 5 years. And you're supposed to talk about what you did to learn and prepare for becoming a certified genealogist and how your learning experiences helped you meet standards and other things. So if your goal is to do any of these things, then you might want to start now to track the learning and development activities that you're doing to help you learn and grow. And in the ICAPGen Guide to Applying for an Accredited Genealogist Credential, there's a section on the hours that you need to have to prepare for accreditation. So I'm just going to zoom in on this. It talks about your genealogical research experience and education. And they suggest that 500 of those hours should be in the chosen region. So if I'm going to do the Texas and Oklahoma area, which is South Central United States region, then I should have 500 hours or more of experience in the states in that region. And there's more than just Texas and Oklahoma. I think it includes like Arkansas and some of the others. So ICAPGen suggests that candidates keep a detailed record of their research hours for their own benefit, but they don't have you turn that in. And then they suggest that you have at least 100 hours to focus on researching nationwide record types of their chosen region, so federal level census and military and other record sets, and then 400 combined hours in those smaller regions like states or provinces. So this is a really good kind of idea to consider rounding out your education and considering, am I researching in those specific regions that are interesting or helpful to me? And then am I looking and zooming out at the national level and spending some time understanding the records there? And then this next section I like too. It says acquire research experience throughout genealogical journey using at least 10 relevant repositories and websites for the chosen region. These must include offline and online repositories. So this is really good to consider, and it's something that I really thought about too when I was working on my development activities for certification, that I wanted to make sure I had experience in repositories, not just websites, and going to places. And my previous experience had been a lot with family search, and so I tried to expand by going to courthouses and historical societies on site and things like that. And so it did require that I take a research trip, which was delightful. So, but sometimes that's hard. So it can be, they don't require that you go there. You can also hire someone to go there, or reach out to the repository and ask them to do the lookups for you and that kind of thing. But they suggest that you have 10 repositories that you've worked with. So ordering through correspondence with 2 archives, ordering records from a courthouse, performing research in 2 libraries, and then working with 5 internet sites for that region would meet the recommendation of 10 repositories. But they don't say that you have to visit there or go on site. You can just do it from correspondence. Then it also talks about dedicate more than 100 hours of reading and using old documents in the chosen region's primary language. So if there's a different language there, and then demonstrate proficiency in writing clear, understandable, professional quality research reports. So that kind of talks about the hands-on learning where we need to practice writing reports. And then the last bullet is participate regularly in professional development activities, such as reading books, studying professionally written reports in well-known genealogical publications, attending conferences, institutes, and watching webinars. And so I thought that was just kind of a great list for anyone who wants to become at the professional level of research for whatever area, whether or not you decide to seek a credential, but some good ideas for how to get to the point of being more experienced in your research. And it also points to the idea of needing to keep track of things if you are planning to do the AG credential. And then as far as the renewal form for ICAPGen, they want you to show that you have given effort to maintaining a high level of knowledge in your region and that you're conducting sound, thorough research. And so they have kind of some guidelines for this, and that your activities can include research projects, classes that you've taken or taught, books or articles that you've read or written, research trips, even society memberships, volunteer professional genealogy work, other accreditations earned, and those kinds of things. Now, the Board for Certification of Genealogists, they have a very similar idea with their development activities. This is part of the portfolio that you submit, and they want you to talk about what helped you prepare for certification and how that specific activity helped you to meet standards, understand sources, and obtain skills in reconstructing families, and grow in your abilities to present findings through writing. And they suggest you talk about your formal activities, such as conferences, institutes, and degree programs, and informal activities, such as practicing on your own and reading books. So I'm going to share my development activities that I submitted in my portfolio last year in December. And this part of my portfolio passed, and I didn't have any feedback about the development activities except for that they were good. So I'm going to share this as an example that met what they were looking for. And I had 2 pages, so I have 4 slides showing the first and second half of each page. But what I decided to do, and they don't have a required format for this, but I decided to kind of group things together by what type of thing it was. So I've been going to Rootstock every year, and that was the first conference that I ever went to for genealogy. So I put this as one of the key things that got me started, and the years. And then I mentioned that it exposed me to a wide array of genealogical materials and methods. And then presenting at Rootstock also helped me dive deeper into the topics. And then the National Genealogical Society conferences starting in 2017, I started out by listening to the recorded lectures. So I would buy all the recordings of the audio and listen to them like podcasts, which I don't think you can do anymore, sadly, but I loved doing that. I think now they make them available as videos for everyone who registers. But it was really great to be able to have access to so many of those. And they also had the BCG skill building lectures within the NGS conferences. So those were always helpful to focus on. And then I talked about doing the study groups with Research Like a Pro and how teaching them and working alongside to do my own research project twice per year was really good hands-on practice, and practicing and doing the reading and writing and analysis was probably the best thing that I did to grow in my writing skills. Doing is the way that I learn. Then the next part of that page, I talked about client research, which was also hands-on practice for writing, and then legacy family tree webinars, just watching whatever I needed to learn about. It's great to have that library accessible. And then I went into all the institute courses that I did. So I started in 2019 with the intermediate foundations, and then I had a study group for mastering genealogical proof, and then an NGSQ study group, and then some more institute courses. I did the practicum for DNA analysis with SLIG. And then I did the certification discussion group twice to learn about the portfolio elements and kind of get detailed information about, judges' comments and what applicants learned from that. Then meeting standards using DNA evidence, another SLIG course, the ProGen study group, an advanced methods SLIG course, this genetic genealogy SLIG course, another IGHR DNA course. Then I did an accountability group that was ongoing to help me get things done. And just reading the BCG action list emails. Then some more DNA. I did a lot of DNA courses, institute courses. Then a Research in the South Institute course. And then I wanted to just make sure I wasn't missing anything with my self-taught abstracting and transcribing skills. So I took this NGS online course about that. And then Mastering Genealogical Documentation course with Tom Jones, which gave me a lot of confidence that I could decide the way that I wanted to cite things and not have to follow exactly the models, but I could just create my own citation from scratch using the principles that he teaches. And so I loved that book and that course. So that was my 2 pages of development activities showing everything I did to prepare for certification and talking about how it helped me. So how did I track all of these things? Well, I didn't do a very good job tracking them. So what I did was I had a spreadsheet, and you could have anything as long as it's all in one place. And what I had a spreadsheet, and then I had Google Drive folders for every course that I took with all the notes and the class materials. So that helped me when I was trying to remember everything. But in my spreadsheet, I just had you can't see the tabs here, but I had a tab for institute courses, a tab for conferences. I had a tab for one of the NGS conferences where I was marking off which ones I had listened to. And it wasn't comprehensive, but it was better than nothing. And so this is kind of what I started from when I did my development activities. And so now going forward, and after having been inspired by one of our Research Like a Pro study group members, I'm going to be tracking my continuing education with an Airtable base, which is the new way that I like to track everything. And I've been using Airtable to track all of my speaking engagements. And so it's been great for that. And now I'm excited to use this new base that I created to help with tracking genealogy education. And so I've been thinking about what do I want to keep track of and what might be useful and what other tables might be helpful. And so first I put a table for learning experiences, since I wanted to make it broad enough to include anything that I do to learn. So right now I've listed some study group and conference and institute experiences, but I could also put, writing a report or practicing, transcribing, whatever it is. And I actually used the AI table creator to help create this, and it added this star rating, which was fun. I hadn't thought of that. And so you can rate your experience at that conference or that learning experience as far as how much it helped you. And so I experimented with that a bit. The URL of the sponsor for that conference or institute, the date that you attended, the type, the topics, description. For the study group last in the spring, I put the objective of my study group project, the benefits, the follow-up tasks that you might have, any networking connections. Then if you want to try using this base, you can get it in my Airtable universe, and you can just go to Airtable universe with my name, Nicole Dyer, and you should be able to see it, or you can use this link.